I think you're muted, Leroy. I think you're muted.
I can hear him.
Can you hear me?
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you.
I can't hear anybody else.
His thing did that thing again. He's gonna have to disappear and come back.
Leroy? Jim?
We can hear you.
I'm unmuted. And I got my video on. I can't hear you. Hello? Hello?
Art,
Hello?
Art.
Look in chat. I am. I am. I am.
Yep. Okay.
Still can't hear anyone.
Oh, you hear me now? No?
Now you're going. You're probably.
I'd send him a note to restart his session.
Okay, I can see you talking, but I can't. Okay.
I don't know. I tried to send a message.
He said he's going to restart his session, so that's good.
Okay.
So anyhow, I don't know
It did that thing to it. It did that once before to him.
Yeah.
It's done that to me. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Oh, he's gone to reset it.
But he can't hear you. So I just held up. There he is. Let's see if that's. I just held up a little thing that said "Look in the chat."
Yeah.
Can you hear us now, Art?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
I don't know what happened before. I went in just normal and.
I don't know why it does it. It does that every now and then. And that's the only way we've been able to figure out how to fix it is you got to leave and come back.
Okay.
And Kenny, with his meat is not so smooth as this thing. I don't think this is pretty suave software, the Zoom stuff.
Okay.
Even if it does have some problems.
Yeah.
They all have problems. Every one of them.
You get software that's smart enough for me to use it. I mean, that's good stuff that I can figure out without much instruction. Man, what you got, Leroy?
You want to see my new toy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got me a new mobile radio for the car. Brand new. It just showed up like an hour or so before the meeting.
So where did it come from?
It is a DMR mobile 50-watt radio. VHF, UHF, and 220. It's got GPS built into it. It's got Bluetooth built into it. And I can't get it back in the box now. Made by Anytone. That's the radio that I told what's his name, that
Ray?
Ray. I was so impressed with the little handheld Anytone that I wanted to get the mobile version of it. So I did.
50 watts, that's a lot of power, dude.
Yeah. Most of the reviews say that it's actually closer to 40 watts, but still 40 watts.
40 watts is a lot of
That's a
power,
lot of
dude.
power. That's enough. Especially around here. I mean, we've got so many repeaters around here. But that's my new toy. I got to program that thing and get it in the car. Get an antenna. Get a decent antenna.
So about how much did it cost?
That was $400.
Okay. I guess I never thought I'd hear that number come out of your mouth there, Leah, right?
I don't know. It was half gift and half not gift. So,
Oh, okay.
but I needed a decent radio for the car because I've been carrying around this, the handheld, and those things really don't work well in the car. But have to see how it actually works out. So you program these things with software, that you have on your computer, and luckily the code, the code plug, all the programming for this radio is 99% compatible with the new radio, so I didn't have to make a whole lot of changes. I had to change a few things that are a little different, but I should be able to just plug this in and get it programmed, and then the two radios will be nearly identical because of how it's programmed, so I could go from one to the other back and forth without thinking about it.
Yeah, my access point, wireless access point, actually turned out to be made in Vietnam.
Okay.
That's all I know. That's all I'm doing lately. I'm going to work on some LoRa radio stuff this week because I want to, not because I need to or have to. And I talked to Mark West yesterday. I think it was yesterday. He's got somebody he knows is doing some interesting hydraulics being controlled with the Arduino to move a solar panel and follow the sun with a solar panel. And it was kind of interesting. So I might get down there next week to see this thing in person. But the way he had described it, it sounded kind of interesting. That's all I know.
So it has some kind of a sensor that senses where the sun is, and then rotate. Does it rotate and gimbal or just rotate?
I've only seen like pictures of it. I think it's got a tilt to it and a rotate. But he says it's all control. It's all hydraulics that do it. It's not a motor or anything. It's a hydraulic something.
Well, you've got to control a pump motor in order to control the hydraulics, but yeah.
Okay. I don't know much about hydraulics. I know they kind of sort of how it works, but he said that there's a compass module on there. so he's just adjusting it a couple of degrees every 10 minutes or so. But the guy that did this said that it actually will track the sun. So I'm not sure what kind of sensor they're using.
This is a commercial product or what?
I think right now it is just a hobby project, but the way Mark talks, the guy wants to turn it into something more than a hobby project.
Okay.
But I really don't know. I don't know anything. I'm just here. I never claim to know stuff, really.
Oh, we got a hummingbird.
This is a monarch butterfly here also. So you can catch these things, and every time a hummingbird is out there, I get the phone pings me, and then you can actually trim the video on the phone, trim it down to the part that you want. It's pretty cool. And that's that Real Link stuff. Their software is cool. This one seems to forget the shadow areas occasionally. I have to go back and reset the zone again. You draw the zone. You actually use it like the paint eraser and the spray painter. You can like spray paint the area you want to see, and you erase the area that you want to see, and it forgets that periodically for some reason. I paid $35 for that thing, you know. You'd think it wouldn't forget the zone like that.
So you paint an area where you want it to detect motion, and outside of that area it doesn't detect motion, or what?
It's actually backwards. Your screen comes up all white, hazy white, and you take the eraser and you erase the area that you want to see, and you see it. The white will go away, and you can see the picture better. And that area that you erase is the live target area. And
any motion any place else it ignores, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep. And you can put zones all over it, wherever you want to draw zones that you want to watch. I'm getting a little better at watching cars now. I noticed one of the things that I did on one of my more successful cameras is I have a tiny, tiny zone that I watch, and I have the gain set up real high. And that seems to, so you're not looking at the sunlight lighting the entire area.
Mm-hmm.
So if the sun catches that area, it does a frame distance. It will ignore one frame error, but the second frame out of bounds, it'll capture that. So if you have noise, it'll pretty much ignore the noise. And that seems to be a nice little trick. Pick out tiny zones so you're not looking at the trees. You just have a nice picture of the highway, for example, or the grass on the other side. Grass that you can't see grass move from 100 feet away, so you can take a picture of the grass and watch that. So it works pretty good. That's better.
So are you any more successful at controlling the traffic on your road there?
Not really. I'm spreading the word. Any city workers that I come across, I let them know what's going on here. I had a nice successful thing. The guys had to redig a gas line across the street. And I saw a guy over there across the street. Well, I'm not going to let him go without my story about the maniacs that drive on my road. So I went over there and talked to him. He was surveying for the gas lines. Well, in September, they put fiber in on this side for 5G coverage up the road at the warehouses. And I showed him pictures of the gas line markings on the street. So he didn't have to remark it. I said, there it is right there. Otherwise, he has to clamp. They have a wire they bury with the plastic pipe. And what they do is they go back up. If you look at your gas line coming into your house, you'll see underneath the gas line, the plastic pipe, there'll be a wire tied up, coming up from the ground, going to the bottom of where that connects. And what they do is they hop that up with an RF signal, and then they can trace it all the way out. He couldn't find a wire. I actually found the wire from the gas line. And then the one up my neighbor's, I showed him where that one was too. So he was pleased. But all this was because you can take pictures of everything. I was documenting where the lines go and where the borders to the property are and all that stuff. So all that's free storage on Google. So I got it up there.
So the fiber that's going by the end of your driveway is not servicing you, it's servicing some companies up the road?
Yeah, it's we got some huge warehouses up the road. We got Kroger and some warehouses, probably Amazon. Is that Amazon up there, Leroy?
No, Amazon's on the other side of the highway.
Okay. But it's huge warehouses, huge new warehouses, probably a few million square feet.
There's what is that? GE? Is GE there? One of the electric companies is over there.
Yeah, we got Xerox over there. It's headed that direction. And there's several huge warehouses up there. Huge.
Now, that new Kroger thing, that's going to be interesting because I think they just put a gas station in there probably for their own use. Because it's behind the fence and everything.
Yeah. Got a new super Kroger warehouse that they built up there also. And they're supposedly going to distribute food for people to purchase, like the meals ready to eat or something. Are you with minimum prep? Something like that. Well, we got the source over there. Uh-oh, we got a new watch.
No, it's a push to talk button. It came with the radio.
I've got a new watch.
Oh, cool.
It's blood pressure and pulse and something else. Oh, oxygen. $8.
$8.
Yeah.
There was a I didn't bookmark. I wish I bookmarked because I can't remember the company. There was a company that was selling Amazon or Google watches, smartwatches, and they were closing them out and they were selling them for $15 a piece.
Wow.
And I didn't bookmark it, but when I went to try to buy one, they had already sold out. Go figure, $15 a piece.
Yeah, right.
These watches, these cheap watches that I've got, I don't know if you saw mine, or it'll send an EKG out or ECG out, and you can mail it to yourself or to whoever on the spot. And it also tracks your blood pressure and your oxygen and your pulse rate and keeps track of all that. So you can see when you're low and when you're high and all that stuff.
So is the link to this on the Wix page?
I don't know. I'll have to check that. I did do a demo on it. I'll make a link on it by tomorrow. These are cheap watches. The ECG one was a $17 watch. And the blood pressure is relatively accurate. And the O2, this new one actually is a little easier to use. It does the blood pressure, pulse rate, and oxygen in one reading. You can just sit up there and tap it like that, and it has the numbers on it. And then you tap it 2 more times, and then you hold it down, and now it's getting the information. You can see it blinking, and then it brings it up. And this one's pretty quick. The other one's relatively slow. This is a new 107 over 81, 78 BPM, and 98% oxygen. Boom. And it keeps a trail of that. It's pretty cute stuff.
Is anybody using a 5G phone yet?
Pretty quiet.
Yeah, okay. I take that as a no.
No, actually, when I bought this new phone 3 months ago, no, month and a half ago, I don't know, 2 months ago, and I looked to see if it was going to be 5G compatible, and they're not even doing that yet. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it looks like there are some articles in the news. In the news section, you can go to the meeting announcement and go to the news page, and you'll see all the news. There's an article there that defines who is going to do what. And what it breaks down to here and now, what's happening now is 5G is useful if you're outside, okay? And if you're inside, you're going to be 4G, and they're going to use the old frequencies. The new frequencies basically looks like they won't go through a wall, and the older stuff does still go through a wall. If you want the new stuff inside the wall, you're probably going to have to get a device like a wireless access device inside your home. But it's really nice. It's really fast. It's super duper, but it's not inside most places unless somebody brings it inside. So that's the general picture. But this article, it was about a month ago, explains what's happening. And what's happening is they're going to use some of the lower frequencies and put the 5G stuff on the lower frequencies at a lower speed. So you can get 5G services, but not at the full 5G rate inside, because most people don't need the tremendous speed. But when they go inside, they would like to have something besides just 4G, and they're offering 5G in some of the middle bands. And the high bands just don't make it inside the house right now.
Well, I think they're at, 60 gigahertz, something like that. 5G, I think, is at 60 gigahertz. So, yeah, you're right. That doesn't penetrate wood or glass or anything else.
So what they're having is they're having antennas all over the place now, Art. There are antennas on stoplights, antennas everywhere that's for 5G, because it doesn't propagate as well as 4G. As not 4G, but the 4G old frequencies, the lower frequencies.
Yeah, well, the 5G has a much shorter range, and it's also fairly sensitive to high moisture content or rain or whatever. So
yeah, they're saying fog bothers it.
Yeah, well, it's anything that has a lot of water vapor in the air.
Yeah.
So all the hype over 5G, there are some downsides for using it on your phone. If you're just trying to do a point-to-point high bandwidth transmit, that makes sense. It's equivalent to a line of sight arrangement. But if you've got 2 plants within a half a mile of each other, You can set up antennas to transmit gigabit, multi-gigabit data rates. So, but it's going to have a niche. It's not going to be in a 100% replacement for 4G. That's for sure. There's a lot of hype about it because of the merger with Sprint and what's the other one? Happened last week. Sprint,
T-Mobile and Sprint.
T-Mobile and Sprint. Yeah. So, and they've got big plans.
Eventually, they fully intend to run TV over it. Okay, and what they'll do, and their intent all along, they've been selling boxes now for a couple of years that are set up for outside antennas. So they bring the outside antenna up, and you receive the 5G signal, and you port it into your house like a access point, a 5G access point, and they bring it inside the house for your TV and whatever you're going to use it for. That's very viable.
So you have a wire, you have a cable that comes in, that pierces the house and goes inside the house. Then you have the equivalent of an access point inside your house. Is that the scheme?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll probably go wireless eventually too, something like Bluetooth wireless or something, short distance stuff.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how the satellite stuff is now. You got an antenna outside, they bring a cable inside, and they distribute it. And they have a down converter, and they distribute it with converter boxes.
Difficulty with the satellite is that you've got that latency problem.
And the back, the down is easy, but the back, if you want to do two-way communications, the back is not so good. And they're working on direct satellite stuff too, so who knows?
Well, this SpaceX thing where they put a cluster of satellites every 10 feet or so, that'll have much less latency because it's in low Earth orbit, so it's not at the 23 or 24,000 mile geosynchronous level.
Google actually did some testing using like helium balloons, and they were just putting up helium balloons and spacing them. I mean, relatively low, not in geosynchronous orbit. That's too far, but and they're cheap to put up. And putting up a satellite is, putting up a nice receiver. Leroy's got a super 50-watt stupid radio there, receiver and transmitter for $50. Talk about cutting the price of satellite phones and stuff. Have to watch out for the balloons. The aircraft have to watch out for the balloons pretty good.
I thought they were doing the balloon thing in like Africa, in countries that didn't have an infrastructure.
Yeah, but it's if you can get the transmitter receivers up, that would really cut down on the receivers and the transmitters. If you could get one to hang up there, a couple of 100,000 feet, a couple of miles. Geosynchronous, you're getting way up there. How far up there is that?
23,400 miles.
Yeah, see, that's, if you could get one up 5 miles, 6 miles, man,
you
can you
really
imagine
don't
that?
need that much power. I mean, you can talk to the amateur satellites, or some of the amateur satellites, with 5-watt handy talkie.
Yeah.
And I did it on a rubber ducky, you really don't need a whole lot of power to do it.
Yeah. So
I've got a video of me doing it on a rubber ducky. It didn't work as well as it did with a Yagi, but I was able to do it.
Yeah.
So
So,
if
you
you
know,
had a
it's,
Yagi and a nice little 5-watt transmitter on the right frequency that could automatically Doppler shift right along with you, you could do it pretty
Yeah.
easy.
wow. So it's pretty doable, I suspect.
You don't need a whole lot of power to do it. Really want it. The downside to like the amateur satellite would be the bandwidth. It wouldn't be wide enough to carry a bunch of data, and everybody would get the same data.
Yeah,
Well,
one thing I ran into talking about bandwidth, one thing I ran into with the TV the other day, we have satellite. So we had the clouds coming over and they shifted to lower resolution because the sensitivity of the high resolution stuff is much less than the sensitivity of the lower resolution stuff. So you can get a better signal if you run lower resolution. So
It's one reason why I don't like satellite TV. That was actually a big reason why I don't like satellite TV.
oh, if you got a high internet connection anyway, like some people have, not me, of course. I'm 730 up. Other people's 0.73750. Some people have a higher bandwidth than me. But I'm 6 down though. I'm on the edge coming down.
what I don't understand why you don't get fiber in that area though. I mean, they're running it right by your driveway. They can't tee off a little, give you a little squirt there down the driveway.
I got a little sharpshooter shovel up there, you know, I could dig around. I got it all documented where that line is. I got a splice right in my front yard. Yes, sir.
Did they slice it in, or did they drill it under the ground with one of those horizontal drills?
They have a horizontal drill, but where they splice it, they have to
Oh, they have to open it up.
bring it up. And actually, it wasn't a splice. I'm lying. They pull the cable through there. It's where they have to have a T connection so many feet. They have to have a connection that you can dig into ever so many feet. And that when they finished, they just had a coupling there and there was nothing in it. It was just an empty pipe. So they're just going to pull a wire through it. But they have to have a place to break into it if they need to, I guess. And it's by law, you have to have one every so many feet. And they do have to have a concrete place to tap in also every so many feet. But that wasn't me. I didn't get the concrete, fortunately.
So now, are they on an easement, or are they actually on your land?
They're on the easement.
Okay, so they basically
gas.
have the right to do anything they want to on that easement.
Yeah, pretty much. But I squawk so much anyway, they probably wouldn't want to put a piece of concrete up there. I'd be more trouble.
So do you know how many fiber runs they ran through there?
It's about I'd say it's 3.5 inch ID pipe. It's a plastic pipe. What I saw was a plastic pipe. There was a wire in it. They did have a wire in it. They have one wire.
Well, the plastic pipe is just a conduit, basically.
Yep.
That they put, so they probably have pulls that they can put through there, pull new stuff through there anytime they want to.
Yeah. The only thing they had in there when I saw it, when they buried it, the only thing that was in there was a wire. copper wire.
Yeah,
And that's to find it. They put RF energy on it to track it, because
yeah,
otherwise it's all non-metal.
yeah.
Yeah. That
Okay.
new Kroger warehouse that's over there on 63, they ran electric from both sides. They ran electric from the east side and electric from the west side to it. And I asked a guy who came into Kroger. He said they ran more electric than they need because they were anticipating more warehouses, you know, down what is that, Salzman Road?
Interesting.
So
So
they
you're
ran
saying
more
they're
than they
planning
needed
on
down there.
expanding their warehouse facility there?
Yeah, yeah, they're doing a lot. So I'm guessing all the work that they've been doing is with further expansion in mind as well. So they're not out there doing all that again.
We're turning into a warehouse district, Art, which is not
Well,
pleasing to me.
pardon?
We're turning into a warehouse district here, which is not pleasing to me.
Well,
Yeah, it's getting closer to you, isn't it? There
Well,
was always some there, but now there's
well,
quite a bit there.
those ratables probably keep your property tax down, though, I would imagine.
what you have when you bring in there, it's not a desirable thing to have warehouse. Are you familiar with warehouse districts historically?
Oh, yeah.
It's the slum. It's the minimum wage jobs. That's what's there. I've worked in them. Okay, I did conveyors, worked on conveyor systems, and go into those places. It's minimum wage work. Most of them are not air conditioned, which is a big deal over here, and it's just not a good thing. They cost more than some places make money, like high-rise buildings. You can get taxes out of that. This place here, this type warehouses, not so much.
Uh-huh.
It's not a big revenue source. It costs more to have them here than to the taxes that you get out of them. And I'm sure they're getting tax abatements out the wazoo.
Probably so.
You know,
But yeah,
We should be down to 1 or 2 minutes, right?
1 minute 31.
Yeah.
So yeah, think about it. You want warehouses down the street from you, a square mile of warehouses down the street from you. And what that means is traffic's going to be going by your door.
Well, that's true. Well, I live on cul-de-sacs in both houses, so I like that. I only have traffic from the 2 or 3 houses that are up the street from me. So as long as they don't have teenagers, it's not too risky.
Yeah, and the people that are up there, the lower end, they tend to like their cars and their motorcycles and stuff like that. They're racing car guys and NASCAR and all those guys. So you're going to have a lot of racing cars. This is an experience I'm sharing with you, Art.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, guys, I think it's about done.
Yeah.
Okay, take care. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Be safe.
Hopefully we'll see everybody next week.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye. 3, 2.